On October 18th, I attended the No Kings protest here in Denver on the west steps of the Capitol, and I hate to break it to Speaker Mike Johnson, but there were no pro-Hamas protesters, there were no Bolshevik revolutionaries trying to instill communism, and but there were some Antifa signs. I saw an Antifa granny, 2 Antifa frogs, and an Antifa shark. Given the democratic nature of the protest, it's probably the left shark. But that's all it was, and I think they were just thumbing their nose at Antifa. And you know, on a side note, if we're going to say anti-fascist, let's say it, let's spell it out, because I think we can all get behind being anti-fascist, and people who cannot get behind being anti-fascist, we probably need to keep an eye on. But Antifa is ridiculous. Just think you're calling to work and I can't come into them in a lot of pain. And say, what is this? Oh, my Tifa are hurting. They'd fire you over the phone. Anyway, so the protest was a good thing, but I say with all due respect, I believe that's only the start, and there's a second half to this that we need to do as a center to left / democratic voting bloc. And yes, that's to vote. In the 2026 midterm election, we need to vote the Democratic ticket straight down the line to put them in a majority in both houses of Congress. And I know that doesn't sound right, and believe me, I'm not a fan of vote blue no matter who normally. I'm issue by issue, and whoever's got the right answer, that's who I'm going to back. But in this case, imagine a chessboard where on one side of the board you have Trump, the would-be king, and on the other side of the board you have a Constitution and a democracy which we need to defend. And in between the two is the House and the Senate. If we put a Democratic majority in both the House and the Senate, Trump's attacks on our Constitution will be largely impossible. Anything that requires an act of Congress, like renaming the Department of Defense to the Department of War, he won't be able to do. This goes to a point, another point about the protest. There were a number of signs at the protest that said, "Funk Trump," and yeah, they didn't say funk, but you get the meaning. I thought, oh, that's not the most mature sign in the world, but then I come to think of it, you know, I understand the energy, I understand the anger. Let me say this, if you want to funk Trump, then cock block him in Congress. A t-shirt there somewhere, anyway. Literally, cock block him in Congress. With this majority, he won't be able to push his agenda. And for the last 2 years of his presidency, he will be labeled a lame duck president. Think about that for a minute. Think about the fuses in his head blowing. Not only not being able to run for a third term and get rid of birthright citizenship, and all the other things he wants to do, but being labeled a lame duck president for the last 2 years of his presidency. Hey, if that's your motivation, let's make it happen. The other piece to this is if 7 million of us show up and only a dozen people go out to vote, neither party will take us seriously. Every time we protest, both parties are going, don't worry about it, let them have their little protest. We've got our millionaire donors and billionaire donors telling us what to do, so don't worry about them. But if 7 million of us show up to protest and 21 million or 50 million or whatever show up to vote, and we vote that Democratic ticket, which is, it's a tough thing to do, but we do it. Now, every time there's something we the people don't like and we go to protest, both parties will sit up and take notice. And I think that's very important going forward. Now, I'm not suggesting that we vote blue no matter who for every election to come. No. We just need that majority on that chessboard to keep our democracy safe. But even then, we can keep an eye on these Democratic politicians that we put in office. We can communicate with them through their offices. We can put them on blast on social media. We can let them know that we, the people who put them in office, are watching. And yes, you're blocking Trump and keeping him from destroying our democracy, but what else are you doing? Are you putting forth any legislation that will make the lives of the American people better? Because we had the will to vote you in, And if you're not serving us, we have the will to vote you out. So we keep their feet to the fire and we get a better Democratic Party because, let's be honest, the Democratic Party right now, the politicians, they're a little off. And we need to get them back on track. And this is a way to do it. And I respect a lot of people don't like to make the lesser of two evils choice in voting. But to a large extent, that's how Trump got his second term. Because his supporters showed up and voted. And I don't get their decision, but they participated in their democracy by voting, and I applaud them for that. Thank you for that. If we don't, then we really don't have any room to complain. This is an opportunity for us to start showing up in greater number. Like the Republican/conservative voters, our fellow Americans, have traditionally done, have shown up in a higher percentage numbers of the registered voters than do the Democrat/left side. Well, let's fix that. And it's not an us or them thing, it's an us and them. But we need to be participating in our democracy. And we took that first powerful step in that protest. I'm just saying, let's back it up at the polls in 2026. I mean, you don't like to make the lesser choice between the lesser of two evils, but think about your daily life. The bills you pay, how you go about what you buy, what you don't buy, where you scrimp, where you save, where you spend. You make tough decisions all the time. You balance your life. And you take situations that you don't necessarily care for and you say, okay, well, this isn't ideal, but this is better than the other choice. And you make those choices and you move on with your life. You do it all the time. We need to do it for democracy now. And I know you're saying, well, who are you to be saying all this? Well, I'm a grumpy old man with a camera, of course. That's all. Oh, and an opinion. So, yeah, there's that. So please consider going to vote.gov to make sure that you're registered to vote. And in 2026, vote that Democratic ticket to get those pawns on the board so we can keep our democracy safe. And, with respect, talk to your friends and family. Get them motivated. They know you went to the protest. Get them jazzed up about participating in their democracy, and hopefully, going forward, every election, 2028 and far into the future, we'll all be there to support our nation, our Constitution, and our democracy. Thank you so much for listening.